Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone. Hope you all are doing well. Today I'm here with another topic of economics. Firstly, let's recall the general overview of economics. Economics is the social science that is concerned with production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. And you all know that goods and services are all those things which we can utilize to fulfill our basic needs. So today I'm here with another topic of economics, which is the law of demand and supply. In today's lecture, we will learn about the law of demand, law of supply, and factors affecting demand, factors affecting supply, and we will see their graphical representation of both, and we will learn about why is the law of demand and law of supply important in economics. Alright, so firstly let's take a look at the video, and we will continue our lecture after that. Okay.
The law of supply and demand is one of the most basic principles in economics. In simplest terms, the law of supply and demand states that when an item is scarce, but many people want it, the price of that item will rise. Conversely, if there is a larger supply of an item than consumer demand warrants, the price will fall. Supply and demand rise and fall until they achieve balance. Let's say a shoe company develops a desirable new athletic shoe and sets the retail price at $500. While demand for the new shoe might be initially high, most consumers are not willing to spend that much for athletic shoes, so sales will quickly drop after the initial rush. With declining sales, but plenty of shoes to sell, the manufacturer will reduce the price until the demand rises again. When the demand for an item balances with the supply of that product, the market is said to be at equilibrium. The concept of supply and demand can also extend beyond the buying and selling of goods to describe behaviors across the economy. For example, when unemployment is high, employers can offer lower salaries because the demand for employment is higher than the supply of available jobs. When the situation reverses, employers have to offer higher salaries to attract employees.
So today our main topic is law of demand and supply. So firstly, let's know about and discuss about law of demand, and after that we will discuss about law of supply. Alright, so here is the law of demand. The law of demand is one of the most fundamental concepts in economics. It works with the law of supply to explain how market economies allocate resources and determine the prices of goods and services that we observe in everyday transactions. Alright, so here is the statement of this law. The law of demand states that the quantity purchased varies inversely with price. In other words, the higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded. Okay, so this occurs because of the dimensioning marginal utility. That is, consumers use the first unit of an economic good they purchase to serve their most urgent needs first. Then they use each additional unit of the good to serve successfully lowered values ends. Alright, so हम कहते हैं कि law of demand हमारे पास होता है कि the higher the price, the lower quantity demanded. जैसे जैसे किसी भी चीज़ की प्राइस बढ़ती है तो हमारे पास ऑलरेडी उस चीज़ की जो डिमांड है ना उस प्रोडक्ट की, वो ऑलरेडी हमारे पास उस चीज़ की कम हो जाती है ऑटोमेटिकली. ठीक है, इट्स नेचुरल फिनोमेना. ओके, सो हियर इज़ द डिफरेंस बिटवीन, हम एक टर्म यूज़ करते हैं डिमांड एंड एक और हम टर्म यूज़ करते हैं क्वांटिटी डिमांडेड. ठीक है, हम इनका डिफरेंस देख रहे थे कि व्हाट इज़ द डिफरेंस बिटवीन डिमांड एंड क्वांटिटी डिमांडेड. In economic thinking, it is important to understand the difference between the phenomenon of demand and the quantity demanded. In the chart, the term demand refers to the light blue. Here. So, light blue plotted through ABC, and it expresses the relationship between the urgency of consumer wants and the number of units of the economic good at the hand. A change in the demand means a shift of the position or shape of this curve. It reflects a change in the underlying pattern of consumer wants and needs, the means available to satisfy them. On the other hand, the term quantity demanded refers to the point along the horizontal axis, and the changes in the quantity demanded strictly reflect changes in the price without implying any change in the pattern of consumer preferences. changes in quantity demanded just mean movement along the demand curve itself because of the change in price. Okay, so these two ideas are often conflated, but this is a common error. Rising or falling prices do not decrease or increase demand, they change the quantity demanded. ठीक है, प्राइस की वजह से हमारे पास क्वांटिटी डिमांड में चेंज आता है. ठीक हो गया. Alright, so by adding up all the units of a good that consumers are willing to buy at any given price, we can describe a market demand curve which is always sloping downward, like the one shown in the chart below. So each point on the curve A, B and C reflects the quantity demanded, and we will show at like Q and at the given price P. At the point A, for example, the quantity demanded is low, Q1, and the price is high, P1. At the higher prices, consumers demand less of a good, and at lower prices they demand more and more and more. Alright, so here is the factors affecting demand. कौन से factors जो हैं वो demand को affect करते हैं. The shape and the position of demand curve can be impacted by the several factors. Rising incomes tend to increase demand for normal economic goods as people are willing to spend more. The availability of close substitute products that compete with a given economic good will tend to reduce demand for that good, since they can satisfy the same kinds of consumer wants and needs. Conversely, the availability of closely complementary goods will tend to increase demand for an economic good, because the use of two goods together can be even more valuable to consumers than using them separately, like peanut butter and jelly. Alright, so other factors such as future expectation, changes in the background environmental conditions, or changes in the actual or perceived quality of good can change the demand curve, because they alter the pattern of consumer preferences for how the good can be used and how urgently it is needed. Okay, so here is the question. Why is the law of demand important? Okay, so together with the law of supply, the law of demand helps us understand why things are priced at the level and they are, and to identify opportunities to buy what are perceived to be underpriced or sell overpriced products, assets or securities. So, for instance, a firm may boost production in response to rising prices that have been spurred by a surge in demand. Alright, so that's why we will learn about the law of demand in economics. ठीक हो गया? Okay, so here is the law of supply. The law of supply is a microeconomic law that states that all other factors being equal, as the price of good or service increases, the quantity of goods or services that suppliers offer will increase and vice versa. ठीक हो गया? अब हम इसमें देखते हैं कि हमारे पास जैसे जैसे all other factors हमारे पास equal होते हैं, जो हमारे पास price increase होती है तो quantity of goods and services और उसके साथ साथ इंक्रीज हो जाती है. ठीक है, दोनों में इंक्रीज का इफेक्ट आता है. द लॉ ऑफ सप्लाई सेज दैट द प्राइस ऑफ एन आइटम गोज अप, सप्लायर्स विल अटेम्प्ट टू मैक्सिमाइज देयर प्रॉफिट बाय इंक्रीजिंग द नंबर ऑफ आइटम्स फॉर सेल. ठीक है, तो सप्लायर्स क्या करते हैं, अपनी सप्लाई बढ़ा देते हैं. Alright, so here is a graphical representation. The chart below depicts the law of supply using a supply curve which is upward sloping. A, B and C are the points of the supply curve. Each point on the curve reflects a direct correlation between quantity supplied and price. Okay, so at the point A, the quantity supplied will be Q1 and the price will be P1 and so on. ठीक है, so the supply curve is upward sloping because over time suppliers can choose how much of their goods to produce and later bring to the market at any given point in time. However, the supply that sellers bring to the market is fixed, and sellers simply face a decision to either sell or withhold their stock from a sale. Consumer demand sets the price, and sellers can only charge what the market will bear. Okay, if a consumer demand rises over time, the price price will rise, and suppliers can choose to devote new resources to production, or new suppliers can enter in the market, which increases the quantity demand supplied, and demand ultimately sets the price. In the competitive market, supplier response to the market they can expect to receive sets the quantity supplied. Okay, so the law of supply is one of the most fundamental concepts in economics. It works with the law of demand and to explain how market economies allocate resources and determine the prices of goods and services. Okay. Alright, so here are the factors which affecting the supply. Okay, supply is influenced by prices and consumer demand. In addition, the number of suppliers available, the level of competition, and the state of technology and the presence of government support or restriction will play important roles for certain products like agricultural commodities. Supply is also impacted by things like weather and crop yields. Alright, so these are the natural effects which can affecting the supply. Okay. So here is the question, why is the law of supply important? ठीक है, ऊपर हमने देखा था कि why is the law of demand important, and here is the importance of supply, law of supply. So the law of supply says that a higher price will induce producers to supply a higher quantity to the market because businesses seek to the increased revenue. When they expect to receive a higher price for something, they will produce more of it. Meanwhile, if prices fall, suppliers and disincentivized from producing as much as. Alright, so here's the importance and now we will see the equilibrium. ठीक है, जहाँ पे अब हमने सप्लाई कर्व देख लिया है, हमने डिमांड कर्व देख लिया है. अब हमने देखा है जो डिमांड कर्व होता है वो डाउनवर्ड स्लोपिंग होता है, जो सप्लाई कर्व होता है वो हमारे पास अपवर्ड स्लोपिंग होता है. ठीक हो गया. तो अब हम देखते हैं कि हमारे पास इक्विलिब्रियम क्या होता है. इक्विलिब्रियम इज द पॉइंट वेयर सप्लाई एंड डिमांड कर्व इंटरसेक्ट विद each other. Alright, so here's the equilibrium. Equilibrium is important to create both a balanced market and an efficient market. If a market is at its equilibrium, price and quantity, then it has no reason to move away from that point because it is balancing the quantity supplied and the quantity demanded. However, if a market is not at equilibrium, then economic pressures arise to move the market toward the equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. ठीक हो गया. This happens either because there is more supply than what the market is demanding, or because there is more demand than the market is supplying. This balance is a natural function of a free market economy. Alright, so here is a graphical representation of that. S curve shows the supply curve and D curve shows the demand curve, and where these two curves intersect with each other, this is the point of equilibrium price. Alright, so this is the example of price of demand and supply for gasoline. Equilibrium. At this equilibrium point, the market is efficient because the optimal amount of gasoline is being produced and consumed. ठीक हो गया. अब देखिए हमारे पास क्वांटिटी ऑफ गैसोलीन दी हुई है, हमारे पास उसकी प्राइस दी हुई है. अब 1.40 पर डॉलर पे हमारे पास 600 पॉइंट पे इक्विलिब्रियम हमारे पास शो हो रहा है. दिस इज द पॉइंट ऑफ इक्विलिब्रियम. ठीक है, जहाँ पे मार्केट हमारे पास एफिशिएंट है. Okay, here we will learn about lecture. In today's lecture, we will learn about the law of demand, law of supply, and we just see the difference between demand and quantity demanded, and we learned about the factors affecting demand and why is the law of demand important, and then we learned about law of supply, factors affecting supply, and why is the law of supply important, and we just see the graphical representation of these both laws, and after that we learned about the equilibrium term, and equilibrium is the point where supply and demand intersect with each other. Alright, तो हमने उसकी भी ग्राफिकल रिप्रेजेंटेशन देख लिया है. Hopefully now you will understand the term law of demand and law of supply and how it works in our economy. Alright, so thank you for being here. Thank you for listening the lecture. Hopefully you will now understand the term demand and supply, law of demand and supply. Alright, thank you. Take care of yourself, take care of everyone around you. Like the video, share it, and subscribe the channel if you want to know about the other topics and videos about economics. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.